Hello, car guys and car gals. It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Fred Lenhartz, the subprime hero.
And we are bringing you a five-liner from this happening fellow right here. And we are excited to be bringing you this from the cafe. And he is away at another conference with incredible leaders. But we got to do what we can to get some of the best people in the car business up in this cafe right now. So help us out and tag a car guy.
That's right. Tag a car gal.
And share.
Let's get it out there.
Message out there.
Woo! Do not forget to let everyone know. Folks, it's important that we share this out because the information, the people, the stories that we share will inspire you. It'll inspire someone out there, even if they're not in the industry, somebody that you know wants to get into this industry. Let them see this because they can see that this is a great journey and there's great opportunities, man. There's so many ways that you can not only help somebody buy a vehicle, but you could upshift and uplift someone's life in so many levels. Lou and I, we've had a great journey in this industry and it's just beginning. And this man right here, Bart, 40 years, I'm telling you, plus in this industry, doing amazing things, everything from being a general manager, a salesperson, he's done it all. He's seen it all. But he's still growing. He's still learning. He's at a conference right now, learning something. I can't wait to get him up here to talk about what he's learning and why he's learning right now. That's what I'm talking about.
And he's there with the leaders of leaders, right? Those that are developing leaders. I mean, the one who literally wrote the Bible on leadership, right? The John Maxwell crew.
We all know
what it is that they're doing.
Shout out to that team.
We appreciate the wisdom that comes from there, but really, seriously, the appreciation that we have for this solutionary that's brewing with us today is immense. One of the very first encounters that we had with him, we actually had in prayer. And you all know, if you've been following us, you've been listening to us, you are a part of our flow and the culture. You know, we're all about going to the throne, especially with some brothers in the faith. And so we are really, really, really grateful that as we continue on this quest to brew with the best, finding great people to bring to you to have a good cup of coffee and a conversation with, we have a really high quality solutionary that gave us the honor of using or being interviewed by him before he actually got on to our show. So it's not often that we get the chance to interview people that have turned the tables on us. But this is our opportunity to be able to repay that great conversation.
Long overdue conversation.
Keep it continued and keep having some fun. So let's not do this much more, everybody. We got to move these chocolate covered.
Sorry, I have some chocolate covered espresso beans in case you need some Car Guy coffee on the go.
That's right. You can get some of that. If you do go to carguycoffee.com and you go to the coffee shop.
That's right.
And you continue to shop around in the coffee shop, you will get some more of the delicious coffee products that are available from our partners over at I Say With Cafe. So, but we have a great being in the room today.
Dude,
and we're ready to bring it to you.
We do. We got Brian Ortega saying,
That's
what's
right.
up?
What's up, Brian?
Hey, it says Facebook user, but I looked it up. Tony Lucas, what's up,
What's
my
up,
man?
Tony?
Love that dude. If you guys haven't met him, he's phenomenal. And of course, Brian Ortega is also.
Look at that face.
Brian Ortega just texted me on the side. Let's talk about that, Brian. I would love for that to happen. We'll make it happen. So anyway, that being said, long overdue. Let's make this happen. No more. Let's not wait. Let's keep this going.
No more Fred and Lou ado. It is time to welcome in this fresh Brew with the one,
the only,
Bart Nollenberger. There he is. Hey.
What's up, fella?
Oh, man,
live.
What's up with
from
you?
my hotel room. Now that might be a little intimidating to some, but look at it. If you can see this, I made my bed for y'all. So we're smiling and dialing here. I've got the place looking good. I'm 27 floors up. And man, it's like looking over the edge of this thing, and I can see all of Orlando, all the way to Miami Beach almost. But it's a long way up. And you know what? You guys get me up, and you get me jacked up. So thank you so much for giving me the time to hang out with you. I'm serious, man. You guys pump me up. I have to admit that I was in a meeting a little bit ago. I'm not going to say who it was. And I'm sitting in there because I've been in meetings for 3 days, and I'm doing one of those fade deals. You ever done that?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to think, oh, man, I got to go. I got to be ready for my boys. And I'm ready. So, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. I really am.
We're so thankful that you're here. Cheers to you. Cheers, Fred. We got him on the show, and we are excited that you are here. Folks, you all are in for an incredible treat, because this particular solutionary is so high quality with such an incredible track record of being an overcomer, which is really what we want to encourage each and every one of you to continue to be, is an overcomer. And an overcomer uses the words of their testimony in order to continue overcoming and helping others to overcome. And we're just so thankful that you're in here. But brother, there is one quick dance move that we continue to do to make sure that we do keep being the overcomers that we are. And that's to forgive, focus, and fly, so that we can keep growing. And you were in a room with us once before to do it. We got the chance to do it with you on your show, but nobody saw that. So we want to make sure that we show everybody that the one, the only Bart Nollenberger knows how to forgive, focus, and fly, so that we can keep growing. Let's go. We're going to go ahead and put our hands on our shoulders, and we're going to forgive, focus, fly on 3. Hit that music one time. Here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Forgive. Focus. Fly. And keep growing. That's right.
Growing.
Love it, man. We got you there. We love it. He's focused. He's ready to fly. That's what I'm talking about. And that's right. You just got to keep growing, my friends. Listen, we're going to be in here. We're going to be doing this 5-liner with my man, Bart Nollenberger. And we're so excited because not only does he have the experience, but he's been all about giving back. And that's something that I really enjoy watching you do. That's probably the thing that attracts me to what you're doing. All your stuff is always giving back. Your energy is always that feeling of love, honor, faith, faith, very strong faith, man. And you have been through some things. We've heard some of your story, man, very briefly on the stage that we got to see you down in Jonathan Dawson's event when he opened up the Pinnacle Training Facility. Shout out to them down there for connecting so many great people together that week. But I'm excited to ask you these 5 questions, because I think that these questions are going to really pull out some more so other people can understand Bart. And not just Bart, but why going through what you've gone through has made you as amazing as you are today. And you're going to keep moving. So first question. First question is, Bart, what's your why, my friend? What drives you? What gets you up every day and makes you want to be more than you were yesterday?
I think there's a little bit of a caveat to that. So I'm a I personality, by the way, fellas. So if you know what that means, it means I can talk. And I love to talk. But here's the story to that. My why is because I'm not who I was anymore. Because who I was there's a lot of W's in there. Who I was I was a pig. I was not good in marriage. I was a drug addict. I was a great car salesman, but I had no moral fiber. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know how to do adult life. At 28 years old, I weighed 150 pounds, and I ended up bumping into a buddy of mine. I was doing about $5,000 of cocaine a month, and I bumped into a buddy of mine, and he looked good. And for me, it was always how you look. So this guy looked good, and he always looked bad. I said, dude, what happened? And he said, well, I went to rehab. And I said, what's rehab? He said, I went 30 days in the hole without any cocaine. And I thought, whoa. I said, that sounds interesting. And I walked away. But deep inside, I thought, man, I want help, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to search. I wanted something. I went and saw the person at the Adrian Center where he went, and she said, I need 30 days, no work, 24/7. I said, I can't do that. I'm important. I was a finance manager at a car dealership. I thought I was a big deal. I wasn't. And 6 months later, I was doing cocaine at work. It was a Thursday night. Remember it like it was yesterday. I had a 12-pack next to me. I was doing paperwork. By the way, I hated my job. I walked into the bathroom to do a line of cocaine, and my boss came in behind me. And I tried to hide it, but he saw it, and I knew I was in trouble. The next morning, I walked into my office, and he said, come here. He said, we're going to have to let you go. And from that moment, I knew I was going to get help. I loosened my tie, packed up my stuff, didn't say goodbye to anybody. And I went home, and the next morning I woke up crying like a newborn, crying to a God I didn't even know. And I asked God to help me get, not because I lost my job, but because I was ashamed. I hated myself. And within an hour, I called that treatment center. It was this intuition. Called that treatment center, and within an hour, I was in there. I was in there 2 weeks, and my counselor said, you're never going to make it. And I wanted to punch him in the nose. And then the next day, I found some cocaine in my shirt pocket, and I opened it, and I shoved it down the toilet. And right then, I knew I'd gotten to the other side. After 30 days, I graduated from that program. And today, I have 34,584 days of sobriety, one day at a time by the grace of God. So there's my why. God. I didn't know God, but he pulled me up out of the pit, and he got me to this place of getting to know him. As a matter of fact, I didn't meet him until 10 years later. But that's my why. My why, frankly, is to live for him, period. And there's a lot to that. If you want to ask me, I'll tell you. But that's my why. That was my rebirth day. And that punk way back then that was making a lot of money, that was just a nightmare, is not who I am anymore. So that's my cause for sure.
Wow. What a story. What a testimony. That's incredible. I'm just sitting it. I'm sipping on it slowly. Seriously. It's one thing we don't want to do is ever rush this show. We've let these shows go for a long time, but sometimes when you're in great company, we don't want to rush the cup of coffee and the conversation. We can let the coffee get cold, but when there's passion in the heart coming out, we want as much of that as possible. And some of you that are listening, some of you that are watching, you all have dealt with these situations. You all have heard these situations. You all have friends. You all have colleagues. This is a recognition of the dark side of the car business, right? Where the word does prove itself out of give a man a measure of fame, and you'll notice what kind of character you have. And inside of that, it's also, something we know. Okay, we're going to be able to tell who somebody is by the time they get their first big paycheck, and seeing what they look like with it. That's real. That's real stuff. That's real talk. And Bart, we honor your vulnerability to share that, but that's also part of why you're connecting with so many people too, is you're not afraid to tell where the dark side was, because it has a marvelous story. If it ain't good yet, folks, it ain't over. And that includes all of you listening and watching, that there is hope. There is a way out, and the decision is still yours. That's how good our God is. He still gives us the choice to choose the direction, to choose him to do a great work with us. And the thing that I love that you said in there is that you didn't know him yet, and you saw that he was doing things for you, in retrospect, getting that. But that's the great thing about him, is that he's always been there. There's never been a time yet that he's ever let us down.
That's right.
There's never, not a one time can we say that he's ever let us down. He may not have fulfilled our plans that we often find ourselves trying to map out for him, right? But he was always there and guided you to the right moment to get you through the storm, because sometimes it's easy for people, sometimes it's hard for people, sometimes it's hard for people to see how easy it is for people. And the opportunities that you've had to get you where you were,
that's right,
is what has helped bring you to the point now where you're not just telling people what to do to keep themselves straight. You're telling them, you know what it's like when the path was all crooked, and how important and how desperate you were to correct that pathway, and that the Father did that for you because he's faithful to do so, everybody. That's just the truth. And we are not afraid to have church up in here. And but brother, we honor that, and that's a strong why, because that's ultimately why we should be doing all that we do, is to honor the one that gives us the opportunity to do it. So definitely honor that.
I never thought I would be this. You know, I never thought this was going to be my journey, right? I mean, I always wanted to be Tony Robbins. I saw Tony Robbins when I was 38. So that's it. That's what I want to do. And I started going in from there and going into a place. I went to a company called Half a Car, about 10 years sober at the time. Half a Car at that time was the largest automobile training company in the world. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I traveled around the world doing that. We were training on short-term leases, what they called the plan back then. And I had some incredible teachers around me and some incredible mentors. And that's what I wanted to do. And yet here I am. And what's interesting about here I am is that in 2016, I wanted to put a Celebrate Recovery in our church. I'm not going to jump too much on this. This is all coming together. But there was no room at the church. There was no room at the inn. They didn't have enough buildings. So it didn't work. But I was going through this program called Unleash at my church. And it's for guys my age and older that are trying to figure out what they can do next in their life. And I told them the same story I told you, about as fast. and I told them that. And we hung together for 5 months. And one day the pastor says to me, "Why don't you start to Celebrate Recovery?" Like, duh. But I said yes. And so that experience because it was God. It was what God wanted. So what happened was, Mary, my wife, and I started this ministry. My wife's a normie. My wife got straight A's. She plays by the rules. I don't understand her at all, right? Not at all. And why she picked me? She was married to a doctor before. Why'd she pick me, right? And yet what I know was that she said, "I'm going to be at your hip for this thing," and became a co-leader in the ministry. But where that becomes really powerful is that when he talks, we better hear him. And what happened through that was God also said, "I don't want you to do sales training anymore." And I was making a nice living. He said, "You've been studying under Maxwell since 2013. It's time for you to start developing leaders." So Phyllis, after prayer and meditation and walking around the house a lot of times, what I heard was, "I want you to work with mid-level managers and teach them how to develop the leader within themselves on things like accountability,
that's right,
priorities, personal development, time management, all that. I want you to teach on that." And I said, "Perfect." You know why it works so well? Because it works hand in hand with the recovery program. Because in doing that leadership training with these dudes or dudettes, what I found was a lot of them had, and anybody listening, you get it. You got stuff. We all got stuff. I had lots of stuff, but we all have hurts and habits and hangups. And what I was called to do was be a leadership leader, but also help people be better with their wives.
I love that.
To really learn what it means to serve, to get out of self. And in that working on the leader within, they're going to be a greater leader on the outside. And that was the message that Jesus, that's the message he was telling me. Look, Celebrate Recovery, you can work with them, whoever them is. Developing the leader within you, that's probably most of my clients are car related. 25 to 55-year-old men, not always, but sometimes, that are really wanting to be better managers, better leaders, better servants for whatever reason.
Right
And
on.
the recovery and that dances together very well. They don't have to be an addict, but they might be. Most of us are
Right.
addicted to something, but they might just be insecure. I can relate. They might just be angry. I yell at my dog. I'm just saying. They might just be, might have suffered abuse themselves. They might be codependent. But in that's where I teach them how to be a leader, but also we get to talk about life and how to be better men and women on this. So to me, it was just congruent, and I could have never thought about it. Wouldn't have figured that out on my own. So there's a long answer to the why I'm on this planet. It's why.
No such thing as a long answer with your why, my friend, just so you know. I'm always happy to hear what drives you and, what motivates you, what gets you excited, and where your heart really is. It's to pour into others, But the beautiful thing is, what I love about what you're talking about and what you do is you don't just pour into others, you're constantly pouring into your own cup too. Mm-hmm. You're filling that cup up so that when it's overflowing, you're able to give, much like why you're at the John Maxwell Leadership meeting right now. And I'm so glad you're there, because I know you're learning some skills. You're connecting with people that energize you. They're going to get you excited about what's happening. You're going to hear new techniques, new ideas, new perspectives, because there's always somebody new at these events speaking or being there the first time they've ever been to one of those, right? So to be able to feel that energy, it's phenomenal. And, that's how you get your cup full, to be able to pour into other people's cups. And that why will constantly drive you. I feel you on that fulfillment, that legacy you're leaving behind for so many others to keep passing on themselves. Whether they remember you or not, it doesn't matter. You know where your heart is. God knows what you're doing, and you're doing the right thing. It's always, one of my favorite things is the right decision is always the most profitable decision at the end of the day too. Right. A lot of times we think that by doing the right things, we're going to miss out on something. At the end of the day, no. You look at the long run of it, you're going to not only make more, but you're going to have more love. And profit to me is all those. It's not just money. It's the people in our families and our loves and everything else that we get, like all this energy, that's profit. That legacy we're leaving behind, that's profit. That's the biggest to me. That is what really is the coin that we're leaving on this planet. No matter how much money we have, it's legacy, truly what we leave. And that's what we'll be remembered for, not the dollars we have. So that being said, Lou, man, what a great why. I mean, I'm going to tell you something, Bart. We can keep going on and on about your why, because I absolutely feel you on that. But man, we got 5 questions we got to get through. Yeah. But what I could tell you is, folks, if you guys hear that, know that if that's your heart, go after it. Don't let it sit there. What happens is you start making other things more a priority that are not, and then you eventually fall apart. But when you're doing what's right, what God's calling you to do, what your heart is feeling, that's when you're doing it. Profit will come. And good things will come. Great memories, legacy, all the above.
So true.
I heard a pastor buddy of mine say the other day, because I had a meeting with him. He was a former CR leader at this church that I started CR. And my pride wouldn't let me sit down with him, because I thought he didn't make it happen. I'm going to make it happen. So I don't want to talk to him. He's going to give me bad juju. So we opened up and we were struggling a little bit, right? Finally, I got where I needed to be on my knees and called the guy. Not literally this time, but been there lots, but called him and said, can we have lunch? And as I'm having lunch with him, I was just frustrated because I didn't feel the staff around me was supporting me. I didn't think the lead pastor was supporting me. You probably, people listening, get that at work. Oh, my boss doesn't care about me. He's mean to me. Whatever it is, you're real, you're human, right? But I was like mad because I fought for a year with my leadership team. Every Sunday we would get together and meet up and have dinner. So before we even opened the doors, we met every Sunday for a year. And when we opened, I knew they were all in. So when it wasn't working, I was really frustrated for them. It wasn't about me. Mm-hmm. And then I went to lunch with this dude. And he said, Bart, would you rather be right? And it went like that. It hit me. I didn't understand always that churchy word righteous, but what that meant was, are you going to walk in what's right for God? Or are you going to get in your own, I got to be right? And it changed. I walked out of that meeting in tears because I thought, man, thank you, Jesus. Thanks for getting me humble. Thanks for letting me put another set of glasses on. Guess what happened to our numbers? Our numbers doubled within 3 weeks. It's amazing, some of the lessons, and I just want to pay attention. But when I'm in Bart, when I'm in baby Bart mode, when I'm in what about me and what about being selfish or prideful, I'm blocking him. When I just say, there you go, you can have me. Oh my gosh, everything happens to a different level because you know what? God 12,000 X's it. Right? Forget 10x, forget 800x. He 12,000x. If I can let go and let him, that's been a big lesson to me.
That's so
huge.
Strong. That's
huge
strong.
Lesson. Right or righteous, my friends.
Come on,
do you have to be right? I tell you, that's a great perspective, and that's a great way of thinking. I think that we all get caught up. I'm guilty of it. I know I am, that I feel like I'm right and I won't hear something sometimes, right? But it's good to sometimes be reminded. That's why, before the show started, Bart mentioned how it's great that Lou and I have each other as business partners. And I do agree, because there's times that I might think I'm right, but then I hear what he says and then I'm like, you know what? I see a different perspective, and we have love between each other. So I know that I can hear him at least, right? I'm going to listen. And then even if I think I'm right, I'll hear his perspective and I'm like, whoa. Okay, I get that perspective now. I see that. I didn't even see that before. So it's good that we open our minds up to that, because sometimes what we think is right is not. Sometimes we just get so stuck on one thing that we forget that there's a million options in this world, right? We got to open our eyes. We got to be ready for that moment. And that's powerful, brother.
That's huge. And that's what's so beneficial about being able to have people in your life. Remember, building those relationships over revenue, consistently keeping your people over your profits, and those relationships with people over your profits. But in that, you also highlighted something there. And again, car guys, car gals, if you're listening, there's so much more to life than just working the car deal. And inside of his why, it's anchored to also what he is putting his heart to in voluntarily serving the community that comes from a place that he comes from. And this is something that's often inside of church leadership. Let me help a lot of y'all out with this, because I've had the privilege of being able to run beside some incredible men of God as we built up our church. We serve in leadership. We've worked in many different capacities over the years. And as we get the chance to hear somebody come to us with a cause that's on their heart, they're really fired up about it. And so many times they want the church to throw their stamp on it to say, here, this is our program. We now have a program for this. Where that's not what God does. Just hate to break it to you all. God doesn't have a committee. Okay. Inside of that, if he called you to do something, do it. So often what we want to do is, and this is where we get ourselves involved, because we get our hands into the dirt. We cultivate the land. We cut it up. We break it up. We sow the seed. We put in all this work, and we're looking at our hands with all this dirt and muck and hard work all over it. The calluses, all the pain that we put in. And then we're saying, and then we want to take more credit for it. And then have somebody else give us validation for it. When that's not what he asked for. He didn't ask for us to validate it. He didn't ask for people to validate it. He wants you to do what he says to do and trust you to do it when he says to do it. And in that means if you want to open up a door for somebody, you want to start a ministry, you want to start an outreach, begin it. Start creating the work. Start doing the work. Your home is open for anybody you want to open it up to. Break bread, welcome somebody in, and start to do your ministry. Let then your ministers, those that work with you, those that can help you out, get behind what you're doing. But go for it. And inside of that, hopefully one day you all know we rock them Jordans. We rock a lot of Nike. Hopefully one day you'll see up over here a nice little a Nike symbol or a Jordan symbol. Who knows? We can get that sponsor one day that says to just do it. But with that, until then, we're going to say just cue it. Okay, with our friends over at VinQ, if you want to start a vehicle buying center, make sure that you get yourself underway there, because those are incredible people too that we have a great relationship with. Right. And that those are dealers that said, hey, I seen a problem and we just want to jump in and fix it. We're not going to wait on a bunch of people to tell us it's okay yet. You know what? We have the resources. We have the friends. We see the problem. We see the need. Let's bring that solution. And that's what's awesome about what we're hearing out of you, is that you're still going. You're still going to do it. You're still opening it. But sometimes when we see the dirt on our hands, we want somebody to validate it until they say, hey, be righteous. This is either God's asking you to do it, either this is really his mission, or this is all you. And if it's all you, you get your reward right there.
Amen.
But with that,
question number 2.
You are an incredible car guy. You are an incredible car guy
That's right,
that has
bro.
served this industry greatly. As a general manager, as an independent dealer, from all different angles, you know this game. So, brother, we want to know, what was it that brought you initially to automotive?
Oh boy. You're gonna wish you hadn't asked that question. So my dad died when I was 22. He was a drunk, and one night he actually on Monday morning, he'd had 3 strokes up to that point. And he walked in on a Monday morning at his dealership. And since nobody knows him, I won't be embarrassing him. I love my dad, but he wasn't a very attentive dad. And what I learned about that as a car dealer, he was busy, blah, blah, blah. But what I learned when I was a father is to be the exact opposite of my dad. I mean, exact opposite. I went to every one of my kids' games. I did all that. But back to the question. So at 22, I was 22. He was a truck dealer, International Harvester truck dealer. Went into work, found out he was 40 grand upside down in his checking account. He had parts going out the back. He had a bookkeeper that was stealing, and it all hit that morning. 40 grand upside down with nothing he could do about it. Might even been more. But at that time, he had another stroke. So I went and visited him in the hospital. And we had been a lot closer as adults. And I stayed with him 4 days until he passed. He did not leave my mom any money. Matter of fact, he had canceled her insurance. So my mom, who was 59, a model, real estate agent, socialite, all of a sudden had to go to work if she was going to supplement her income. Long story short, she went to business school at night, ran the business during the day, got a partner within 10 years. And at 90, she sold 3 rooftops. My mom was the busted. I mean, she was good. And she died at 97. And by the way, a week before she died, I brought her to Christ. So that's another story.
Amen.
So my dad had never said, Bart, I'm proud of you. So all my life, I wanted to make my dad proud. So all his buddies would say, you're going to be great in the business. I had that talking, charismatic personality, and I was. But I stayed in the business, even though I had other dreams, because of the fact that I wanted to please my dad. Even though, and this is going to be bad PR, so don't misunderstand it. Probably not the greatest thing to say, but it's true. Even though I loved the business at times, but I didn't like the business, the tactics. But I loved, what I loved? The people. Loved all my friends are in this industry. Let not that be not sad. I love them. And that's what I do now. I care for the people and that's what I love about this industry. So the reason I got in it was because I wanted to make my dad proud, even though he'd been dead all those years. And when I really got to the point where, I go into retail now and I love talking to customers. I love closing deals. And yet my biggest mission on this planet right now, again, is to help the people from getting from the pit to peace and live a life, get to go to their kids' hockey games, where their wife and them get along well. They don't have to go through 3 divorces, where they've just got this incredible family unit, whether hopefully they find Christ, but even if they do, they somehow find peace. Even if they do not, somehow they find peace, right? So we know in this room that Christ saved our life and gives us eternal life. We get that. But I'm not sitting in here because I want to preach the gospel, although I will all day long. I'm sitting here because even if somebody doesn't believe, I want to help them have a better quality of life than where they are now.
Yeah,
so how I got into it was one thing. Why I'm into it now is completely different. Completely different. But you know what John Maxwell said? He talked about being here. It's not about goals. It's growth. All my goals now are growth goals. How can I get better? 3 questions I ask myself every night on the way home. What did I do right today? What did I learn today? And what must I change? Because fellas, you're young. Say that I'm not old. I'm older, but I'm not old.
You're young, my friend.
I got a lot of time to do, but I've got a mission to get a lot done between now and then. My mission is huge, to change lives. It really is. So that's why I want to grow, because the more I grow, the more people I can touch and influence and help them get from there to here. That's why. It's 100%. Again, back to why.
No doubt about it. And what I can tell you is that what you're saying is right on the freaking money. And I hear you, and my heart is filled up with joy. That's exactly like, man, having that purpose. I understand that, dude. Listen, I get that with your pops 100% more than you know. My story with my father is not exactly the same, but I still try to make him proud every day. My father's still alive. I haven't seen him. It doesn't matter. But the point is that it's just, I know that feeling in your heart, but at the end of the day, what has that brought? That brought so much. Just know that, God, there was purpose for everything, and the reasons and all the whys and everything that's coming up, the culmination of where you're at now, wanting to pour into others so badly because that's where your heart is. That's what God is pulling you towards. And you know what? You're right. And that's amazing that you've found that and that you feel that. And you know what else, man? Your father is proud of you. Yeah. He is so proud of you right now. The point is, and I want you to know that, and I know you know that, and I think everybody knows that who's listening right now. We are all proud of you. We're astounded by you. We think you're amazing. As a friend, you're phenomenal. As an energy on this planet, one of the best I've ever met. So I'm excited, and I know your father's thinking the same thing, man. And thank you for pouring that out to us like that, man. And your mama, 97 years old. Come on now, baby. That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's awesome.
She's gone to heaven, but you know what? She was a rock of Gibraltar. I just want to say something that about, and I'll tell you if we get to that question, but I did something that changed everything. That as soon as I did it, business doubled in 2 days. I'll tell you if we get to, and also what happened 2 weeks later is I have 4 kids by birth. I have 10 kids by blended marriage, but my 4 kids by birth, one of them's 37. He owns 2 restaurants. His wife has 2 companies, and they have 2 babies under 3. They're hustlers, baby. But he said to me the other day, Dad, and this has never happened. I mean, we have a great relationship, but this doesn't happen. This is God. This is you just follow my path. You're obedient to me, and victories will happen. Incredible things will happen that you and I can't even put on paper. And he said to me, Dad, I'm really proud of you. Boom. And you know what? I love you. I love you, Pops, but I ain't doing this for you anymore. Oh. My kiddos can look at me and say, that's my dad. Or my grandkids can say, we love Grandpa Bart. That's why. Another why. I got lots of whys.
Yeah, you do. That's what I'm saying. That's why there's always plenty of time to talk about whys. There's never, I took too much time. No, you can talk about the whole show because I agree. There's so many whys in all of us. So every time you run out of one, there's another one there. Just look at that and reach out. If it's not powerful enough, there's another one that is. What I could tell you is this is Tony Lucas, and he's saying, amen. Everywhere is a good place, and all the time is a great time to serve the Lord. The car business is a great pulpit. Love what you all are doing here. And I agree, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, Tony, for being here and sharing that and feeling that, because that's what this is, man. It's an opportunity. We were told for so long not to talk about this kind of stuff. That's just not what we do. This doesn't belong at the dealership. Yeah, it does, man. It's always been belong. It's supposed to be there. The moment that we open our hearts, and I have a feeling there's something to do with that, is why you doubled your profits. I'm just saying, like, my heart's feeling that. But at the end of the day, that's what it is, man. You guys want to have more profit in life? Listen is what I'm telling you. Listen, truly listen, and you'll find the way to make that profit.
There's so much inside of there, and we want to get to this third piece, but we don't want to get to the third line without making sure that we do plug in here that this is an individual that has been changed and is coaching and mentoring people to make sure that they cash out of the game that they're playing and they keep the change inside of their own life. And this is the author of that book right here. Okay. And we want to make sure that you all do have the opportunity to get yourself a copy of Keep the Change. Let's go ahead and get that up here on the screen for y'all. So you can scan that code. Make sure that you go ahead and get yourself a copy of that. Going to leave that up for a moment, but Keep the Change. There's a lot that's brewing inside of that. And many people find mentorship in different ways. Many people find different coaching. Sometimes you're never going to meet the person that leads you the best that you would get out of maybe even a book. But this incredible solutionary is an author, and we are honored to be able to have you on the show and talk about that a little bit as we get ready to plug in the third question on this 5-liner. Where is that? Okay, you guys see that? We'll go ahead and pull that up. Go ahead and scan that. But Fred, go ahead and bring him that third.
Listen, I'm having a lot of fun asking you these questions and really learning more about you, Bart. And the more I learn about you, the more that I love you, bro. Seriously. So this third question, I have a feeling I'm going to love too.
We have a hug. I want to have longer than 3 seconds, man. I want to have like a 9-second hug.
That's right. That's right, dude. It's gonna be a long one, man. We're gonna have a long, manly embrace. Okay. Listen. I'm excited. This third question is important because I think a lot of people along the way, we've heard a lot of great stories so far about your journey, about what drives you, who's motivated you, people that inspired you. You're at John Maxwell's freaking leadership camp right now. So what inside you, who in your life has been some great mentors for you?
Well, thank you for that question. Absolutely, my mama, because she was so strong. When I asked her, how can you go from Perrysburg, Ohio to Stony Ridge, Ohio, which is on a 2-lane road, a truck dealership out in the middle of a cornfield, that actually did really well because her service department was so strong. But my mom was a socialite. She was a class act. She was like a Joan Crawford, right? And how could, I talk to people all the time when I interview on my podcast that had terrible childhoods. And I had, we didn't have a terrible childhood. It's just they never gave me any attention, right? So when I was young, there was a kiss on the forehead. It wasn't a hug. My dad never said he loved me. And I always strive for attention. Dude, get this. I'm going back a minute, but I wrecked 6 cars in high school. 6. You know why? Because I wanted my dad to notice me. And you know what would happen? Go see Dick. Go get another car.
Yeah.
Dude, I just wrecked the car. Tell me something. Teach me life. And so most people can't, right? Seriously, I'm ashamed at it. Really, I was a middle, what were they? Upper middle class rich kid who knew nothing about life. And as much as when I say this, my dad was not a role model except what not to do. I think it was David Long brought on my show once, and I said, David, who's your role models? He didn't have one, but he said, I can tell you 10 people that I did things exactly the opposite of that they did, right? And I wouldn't do anything like my dad. I love him now, and I've forgiven him. But my mother, we in later years became incredible friends. And it wasn't just about, she was my rock. She was, one year they got me, get this, I shouldn't tell you guys this, you're going to judge me. She got me a van for Christmas. I swear, not a little bitsy van, a shaggin' wagon. And it had carpet in it, and it had Farrah Fawcett poster in the wall, and it had a big Budweiser Bing bag chair. Because I was moving to Florida, I swear to God. And she said, and they said, we want you to live there while you're trying to get a job. I didn't live there. I wasn't going to live in a van by the river. And you know what? Years later, you know what she told me? That might have been the biggest mistake I ever did, was giving you that van. Well, duh. But my point is, she was incredible. She, in terms of running a business, she did that every day. Why'd she take that 20-minute drive to Stony Ridge? Because she had to.
That's right.
She had to. And she proved that, we can't always have the job that, like Steve Jobs says, that we love. We can't always do that. But sometimes we're dealt some cards where we got to play and we got to grind with what's in front of us. And that's what she did. And she built it into a multi-million-dollar business because she had to. She didn't even know how to run a business, man. She went to business school. That's my model. That's my role model. Wow. That's the person that there's one and only of my mom. But I will say my wife is a champion of the cause. She's an incredible woman. Again, why she married me, I don't know, but she loves me so much. And she's been my partner in this ministry. She's been my partner in life. And dude, I was married before, but we have this love story. And and through this love story, I've really realized what it means to be in a love-focused marriage and be selfless. I hope and not selfish anymore. But my wife is, and funny enough, her and my mom have a lot of the same characteristics, strong, integrity women. And I think that happens sometimes, but I have so much respect for my wife. So there's the two.
Oh,
yeah, man.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Shout out to the ladies.
No doubt. I had
Women in
a
automotive.
feeling mom was going to be the one, man, you know, and I get it. And, you know, definitely, I think all of us, we can all agree. And Lou and I and you both, all three of us can say our wives have raised us quite a bit too. So very blessed to have all these amazing, strong, powerful women in our lives that showed us not only how to be better people, but how to help other people do the same thing. And I think that's a great thing to do and have in your life, to be able to say, hey, my greatest mentor was my mother. And I could pretty much say the same thing, my friend. So I totally agree with you. And I love where your heart is with that.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, thank you.
Something that some of you solutionaries may not know is that worked a little bit inside of trying to make a little bit of music. Maybe you might get the chance to hear the time that I did get into the studio. We did put out a song, and I had to make sure one of the songs that I got in there was a song to my mother. And I'm telling you, no, son, this is hot, man. Watch this. Watch. I'm going to talk about my mom. Right? Tupac made it sound good. I don't think I wanted that. But no, there was some great vocals, great people that got onto that song with us, great collaboration in the production of it. But the heartbeat was because I'm a mama's boy and I appreciated my mother. And I know how bad I made it for my mom. I know I was a whole lot of my mama's headache. And with that, now it's so great that we get the chance to have our mothers now. You had a mother that had 97 years of fulfillment and striving and cultivating great people like you. That's an incredible legacy, and we're honored. I mean, we're honored to have a piece of your mom that we're able to talk to right now. And shout out to great women in automotive that found a way to make sure that something happened by educating themselves to get to the next level. That's huge. And shout out to all you other incredible women in automotive making it do what it do. This song's for you. We honor you. We appreciate you all. With that said, because we know the challenges that women have had in this business, we know the challenges that women continue to have inside of this business, and we want to keep trying to do what we can to level the playing field and make this be a business that does include all of us, just like the troubles in our story are included inside of our victory lessons. You can't have the story of Peter walking on water without there being a storm present and people being petrified of seeing Jesus walking on water, right? You don't have that story without the storm. You don't have the great victories of healings without the ailment or without the brokenness. Inside of that, this is often where our biggest lessons come from. This is where we get to grow the most, because you'll hear it often said here, the only place that you're really going to grow is where you get uncomfortable. And with that, we want to know for you, Bart, I mean, you've explained a whole lot of stuff. You dropped a whole lot of story out here already. But what has been your hardest lesson to date?
Well, I think the hardest lesson was to realize that I, left to my own devices, was a doofus. I think the hardest lesson was to realize I've wasted a lot of time. I really think that's been, I think that, I think my ceiling was a whole lot bigger as a youngster, but I didn't pay attention to it. I self-sabotaged it. And, I talk a lot about how do we change? How do you and I change? Well, number one, massive self-awareness. So again, it goes back to why am I here? Because if I know myself, then I can grow myself. And the farther I can grow myself, the more I don't have to look in the back anymore. I can look and see who that baby Bart was, and I don't have to be that anymore, right? And the who I am now blows me away. Who I am now, what's so interesting is I sell with integrity now. I didn't sell with integrity before. I sell with relationship now. I sold with manipulation before. And I don't have to go for the close anymore. It just happens with the hot knife and the butter because I am, if you do enough to solve the problem with integrity and authenticity, the solution happens and the money comes. And I think that's a message, whether we're a leader, whether we're in sales, no matter what we're doing, whether a parent. But for me to die to self and to realize that I wasted a lot of years is probably the hardest lesson that I had to look in the mirror and say, I don't want to be that anymore. But having said that, and this is a big but, I ain't who I am by far. I'm 100%, and I'm not narcissistic anymore. I don't flirt anymore. I don't strive for attention anymore. I don't lie anymore. Well, I try not to. I still cuss a little bit. But my point is, I'm not who I was. And even though I can regret the past, who cares? This is my time. This is our time. It doesn't matter if we're 42, 62, 92, or whatever. This is our time, man.
Amen.
And it's our time to grow. The more we grow, the more we can go help other people. So
Come on.
I don't live by regret, but I have to remember. My story isn't drugs and alcohol. My story isn't failed marriages. My story is victory.
Come on, that's right. That's right.
Responsibility for my own stuff. 100% responsibility. Jesus at my side. Absolutely.
Let's go. Yes, I love it. Love it. And I hear that. I hear that, my friend. That's powerful, and it is. You're not defined by your past. We all make mistakes. If there's a person on this planet who hasn't made a mistake, send me your name and number. I'll send you $1,000 spiff right now.
What's your book?
Like, I'm just telling you.
I want to read your book.
Because there really is no such thing as being perfect. It's just striving to be the best version of yourself. Yeah. Listen, we all have our struggles. We all make mistakes, but at the end of the day, that's how we learn. If you're not making mistakes, you're not messing up, you're not really trying, and it's okay as long as your heart's in the right direction. It's one thing to go out and, make a mistake by stumbling through your words than it is going out and stabbing somebody. Just saying, don't make that mistake. But at the end of the day, what we say, sometimes we say the wrong thing. Sometimes we say things out of anger. Sometimes we say things out of malice because we feel like somebody's doing us wrong. When really, when someone does you wrong, at the end of the day, the best thing to do is just hit them back with love, right? That's one of the hardest things in the world to do. For me still, right? I end up doing it. I end up sometimes going maybe a little the wrong direction, but then after I do it, I'm like, okay, I'm going back the other direction now because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to feel like I'm a guy who's trying to hurt somebody. I'm here really, everything I do, whether I make mistakes or not, is truly with the intentions to help somebody or to help, do better. But sometimes those decisions are just not the right ones. And I make a mistake and I go backwards, or I help somebody else go backwards. And did I do it on purpose? No, but should I feel bad? I do. I feel bad when that happens. But sometimes I feel a little like insecure. So maybe I will come off as a little snipish, like, I was just because I do it with my wife more than anyone. I guarantee it. But but that's how we are. We got to learn from that. It's okay.
Yeah. So can there's just a huge lesson, I think, in this. And in 2015, we talked about the book a little bit. I don't know what your next question is, but I want to throw this out there. The book was taking the 12 steps, it's 12 chapters, and taking this 12 steps of recovery and talking about my story, talking about the steps. What step one is that we admit we're powerless over whatever and our life would become unmanageable. I mean, that's not an easy topic, but admit it. What do we need to admit as men and women on our journey, whether we're at a car dealership as a manager or whatever? We have to admit. Why? Because this makes us better humans. If we're better humans, we're going to have better results and we're going to have a better life, right? So admit. What do we need to admit is step one. Step two, came to believe. If you don't believe in something, you're going to fall for anything. Step three, made a decision. What do we need to make a decision on? I needed to make a decision, fellas, to change my brain, my thoughts. I had to really pay attention to my thoughts. And I had to really look at how do I change my neural encoding to make sure my thoughts were where I wanted to be, not to where I was. And that's what I did. I changed my thoughts. And I didn't hang out in bars anymore. And I didn't hang out with bad girls anymore. I changed everything, but it started with my thinking. Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's what I did. I had to transform my mind. There's a great book by Craig Groeschel called Winning the War in Your Mind. And that book was really important for me to reprogram this mass here. But my book does that, actually. It talks about where I was, the change in my thinking, and the change in my thinking leading to this place of victory and peace. Because that's all I wanted was peace. And that's where the 12 steps, although they take some work, they're the best personal development steps in the universe. If somebody's willing to do the 12 steps, they will never be the same human being again.
Wow.
And that's kind of what this book is. It takes you through all the 12 steps for us to be better humans. We don't have to be sticking needles in our arm to be an addict. We can, or with our anger, we could be an addict in so many different ways, but this allows us to develop as humans. And if we did every 12 step, dude, I'm telling you, you won't be the same person. How's a rich like me get 38 years? How do I get free from porn, even though for decades it was kicking my butt? Only because I changed my thinking and I worked the steps, and I had brothers around me that held me accountable.
Boom.
And that's what that whole
Come on. The word says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And that is what you're dropping is, I mean, stuff that people need to be able to hear in order to start carving out new neural pathways, like you said, new highways that help people quickly get to the right thought about themselves, about other people, first and foremost about God, right? And if the thing is we are programmed because of our experiences. We have our own programming that leads us to a quick thought. And that's because it's become familiar. Our brain wants to work as little as possible in order to come up with an answer, come up with a solution, or come up with a movement. Our brain is designed that way, to use as little energy as possible to do that. But if we can create, like you're saying, those neural pathways that get us to those thoughts better, the right thoughts, that's what transform us. And the word says it. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You have to keep pouring some stuff in consistently. And that's so huge. The good stuff and the bad stuff has to get washed through. I love what you're saying, brother. We can talk all day about this.
No doubt about it.
Come on.
And that leads us to the very last question, and I think that everything is, accumulated to where we're at right now. And I love it, man. This story's been amazing. I love your journey. I love everything you've been telling us, your whys, and you've told us so many different levels of whys, right? And every time you keep getting new reminders of other whys. Your mother and the women in your life have been super important to you, your family, the legacy you're leaving, the people that you're being able to help, the education that you're getting, the troubles, even the struggles that you went through. You know that they were necessary for you to become the Bart Nollenberger you are today. And you know what? And like I said, your father's super proud of you, man. I know that. And what I can tell you is,
and so it's my mama.
No doubt, your mom loves, and she's still shining on you right now. I can see her right now, just shining right behind you, right? You could just feel the light. So the fifth question
and my
is,
wife.
Yes, of course, your wife. We all know. We already know that. In front of every great man is a great woman. It's not behind. It's in front of every great man is a great woman, just so you know, right? An even more great person. But anyway, that being said, we all have great things that happen for us. We work hard, and this is just the beginning still. And I know that, like you said, it's never too late. It's just about doing it right now. But for now, what has been your greatest reward for all the hard work you put together in your life?
Well, I have my marriage for sure, because I didn't know how to do that. But I've got to also add a little shout out to my 4 kids that I birthed. I love the 6 I didn't birth. They were an incredible family. Mary's been an incredible parent. I've got a daughter who's 38 who's going to nursing school right now. She's an acupuncturist, but she decided she wanted to do a new career at 38. God bless her. Incredible. She lives in California, incredible soul. I've got my son I told you about that has 4 businesses between him and his wife, and he's just grinding. I've got a son who's a play-by-play guy for the San Jose Sharks organization. He's following his dream.
What?
Yeah. And
Kids doing little things.
Just little stuff. Yeah. And I've got a third, his twin brother was a scout for the Browns, but now he's selling real estate. And get this, my 2 32-year-olds, both of them asked me to officiate their weddings. And I said, whoa. I think you got the wrong guy. You want me to officiate your wedding? That's victory. That is going from the dark to the light. That is showing everybody what's possible. And look, the prophets come, but if we're not great people, the prophet ain't going to come. It's our character that's determined where we are. It's all about character. People, once we break trust, it takes a lot to get it back. And when people keep the trust, that's when people keep coming back to you, because they trust you and they know that you care and they know you want to help. And for my kids to be where they are in their journey, I get excited. This is real. This is authentic. I'm having fun here. right? I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not.
Come on.
I am just so proud of them and who they are. And for them to ask me to marry them, get out of here.
I know,
That-
right? Whew, what an honor.
Unbelievable.
What an honor.
Right.
What's family love, and
Heck
just that's what I'm talking about.
I
Right
wouldn't be
there.
able to make it through that. I know,
Yeah.
you guys. Oh man, that'd be a hard one to get through. But man, what a story to pull on that. And goodness, car guys, car gals, listening and hearing and feeling this. This isn't because he had a great example. This isn't because he had a horrible example. This is because he changed his thinking. He readjusted how it was that he thought concerning his family, concerning this industry. No longer should our kids be sacrificed on the altar of our profits and our business being built. If anything, it should be the reason why we have so much motivation to build it to be even greater, to have even more integrity, and to make it enticing for them. We don't want our kids to loathe this industry because they didn't get the attention that they should have gotten. We want them to love it and honor it because, wow, it provided great for them and it brought great character out of their mother, their father. Goodness. Bart, you're hitting my heartstrings over here, brother. Goodness, I knew this was coming to them.
Amen,
So this is
amen.
what I get to do for a living, guys. This is what I mean. I love coaching people, doing one-on-one coaching with people, and just hearing their soul and help them get from there to there. Even if it's marriages, this is what I get to do. So I get to do it, and it pays a money reward. I get to do it in ministry, and it gives me all kinds of rewards. And we're doing these mastermind groups, which are groups of 10, 11 managers, and we hang out for 10 weeks. Really working on things like accountability and priorities and personal development. It's so great to bond with these people and this journey. I couldn't have a better job. I got a better job than you do.
You're very blessed, man. And and we're in the people that you are surrounded yourself with are very blessed to have you in their lives. We are blessed to have you in our lives. Our audience is blessed to have you on the show today. And I know that my heart is just filled up right now. And you made me think about a lot of things while you're talking, man. And I love thinking, and you really just provoked me. Very provocative, right?
Very provocative.
So provocative. And I absolutely love what you're talking about. It's the thing is this, what we talk about when we talk about God and Jesus and our faith and what we honor and what we have and what we believe, people shouldn't cringe. People should feel honored to hear this people's hearts, and no matter what you believe, I love you all, no matter what. That's just so any one of you all watching right now, I love every single person who's watching. I love anybody who's not. I love the whole planet. I love everybody that's on here because I know that everybody in their heart can be the best version of themselves. You just have to go after it. You have to quit making excuses, put down the things that are causing the hate and harm in your life, and just move forward. Know that there's people in your life that care about you. Even if they're gone, they're looking down and they're just cheering you on. I know I'm cheering every one of you all on. I'm cheering Bart on. I'm cheering Lou on. I'm cheering everything that I could imagine on. I had a great show today. This was phenomenal. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go out here and go hang out with my son right now. He's home in town. Go hang out with my wife. Her birthday's tomorrow. I got love on her. So let's do this, man. I had a great show today. Thank you, Bart.
Hey, guys, I love who you are. When I say I've got a better job than you do, we all get we're kindred spirits in this, and we are making a difference. Yeah. And you're doing it with a different set of glasses on. It's not about the tactic. It's about the love. It's about the heart that's a servitude. And you're using Jesus as a messenger. And I have so much respect for you guys and what you're doing. And yes, I'm so honored to be on your show. I'm so humbled to be on it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you so much.
We are definitely the ones sitting heavily inside of a deep, deep cup of honor right now, because we're so thankful that we have you in here. And we want to make sure that everybody is 100% clear that the author of Keep the Change, the one, the only Bart Nollenberger over here inside of the Car Guy Coffee Cafe is 100% CGC approved. That's right, everybody. He is CGC approved, and his book is CGC approved. His message is CGC approved, and when he's on stage, he is 100% CGC approved. We honor you, brother. We appreciate you, and we're so thankful that you've taken the time out of your day. I mean, you're hanging out with some incredibles. John Maxwell crew, brother. Seriously, one day we need to go hang out with you. Bring your baristas to work day is what you need to have. And we need to come with you to work one day and have some fun with you.
Folks, go get this book. Here's the QR code one last time. Make sure you guys get this. Go out and reach. It is a great one. Keep the change, my friends. The name alone is amazing. I love it. So get out there. Make a change. Woo,
it'll be back. It'll be out in May. Just let everybody know. But sign up now. We'll get you on the pre-order list. And I've also got a podcast with the same name. So just come join.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's right.
Look for them. Love on them. There it is again, folks. Make sure you guys get this pre-order in. Make sure you're ready for this and cheer him on. Let's make this book the #1 seller that week. Let's make it happen. All right.
That's right. So for those listening on the podcast, because this will be a soon to hit the podcast waves, just because the book is going to be dropping for you all soon. Bart, go ahead and let everybody know how to get a hold of you, how to get a hold of the book, and how they can find out more about the podcast that you put out on a consistent basis, brother.
Thank you, guys. Okay, Apple, Spotify, keep the change. There's a few of them, but this one's Bart Nollenberger, and we do personal interest stories. We had the brothers on, 4 or 5 months ago. We've had Pat Williams, NBA Hall of Famer, on. We've had some incredible folks, incredible car people that have been broken and now are wealthy in every area of their life. The book we already told you about. Please hit that QR code, and it'll be coming up and it'll be coming out in May. Also, phone number 480-327-8751. That's 480-327-8751. It's on the QR code. Also, Bart at BartNollenberger.com.
All right. That's it. That's simple, my friend. Bart at BartNollenberger.com. Let's go. I love it. How can you forget that one, right? Easy. Too easy. All right, folks. Well, we appreciate you all. Bart, thank you for being here. Audience members, everyone who's watching it now or even on the replay, we love you. Go out there and have a great day. Let's forgive, focus, fly, and let's get out of here.
Guess what? We love you. All right, car guys and car gals, thank you so much for brewing solutions with us today. We see you all, and we are so thankful that you all take some time out of your day to listen, to watch, to share, to like, to find out just how you can be encouraged by a cup of coffee and a conversation on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast. Thank you so much. I am Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy.
And I'm Frelin Arts, the subprime hero.
And you have been brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast with the one, the only, Bart Nollenberger. And we can't wait to brew with you. Go to carguycoffee.com, check out our sponsors, and thank you again for just spending some time with us to brew some solutions. We love you all, and we're out. Forgive, focus, fly. Keep growing, everybody. We're out.